This is Men's Sacred Liberation Podcast, a place for the men of Charlotte to share their honest experiences about life. Welcome to another episode of Men's Sacred Liberation. My name is Brian Shaheen, and I'm a clinical therapist in private practice in Charlotte, North Carolina, where I focus on men through the lens of holistic health and wellness. And I want to welcome my special guest to the show, my dear friend, Asher Strunk. Asher, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here on this beautiful Friday morning.
Honor to have you. I've been looking forward to this episode for a very long time, and I want to get right into it.
Yep.
Asher.
Yes.
What lights up your soul?
Ooh, such a good question. You know, the feeling of being fully embodied. And I experienced that in many ways. I love good food. I love good music. I love, expressing myself with movement, with dance, expressing myself, in the kitchen with the food I make, exercising, being in nature, moving my body in nature, moving my body in ways that are fun and challenging.
Yes.
I love connection. I love being surrounded by talented and intelligent and beautiful and sexy people.
God, I'm getting all fired up just listening to you talk.
Yeah.
This is good stuff. And I wanna peel back the onion here a little bit. So you said good food.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the reasons why I adore our connection so much, and it's really the essence of Men's Sacred Liberation, it's a call to action to bring men into a space fully embodied.
Yep.
And the opportunity for us as men to experience what it's like to be surrounded by men and to be leveled up.
Yes.
When you are around other men who are also on this path of full embodiment, there's an opportunity for you to level up your life, to take it to the next level. And when you're surrounded by men who are doing that, it's a call to step into something better than what you've been doing before. And one of the things you've leveled me up in is looking at my diet and how am I choosing to consume certain foods that are not good for my body. So how do you identify good food? What does that mean for you? Be more specific.
Okay. Well, first I want to say that part of being fully embodied means to me, like, I love feeling great. I love waking up in the morning, not being in pain, just like being clear, having energy. And so I've been on a long path. I tried all kinds of diets throughout the years, going back, 20 years now. And through that process, I realized that there is no diet, and that the only diet is a true embodied connection to yourself, paying attention to how you feel, listening to your body and your intuition because it tells you what it wants. But besides that, I'm really into the principles put forth in a book called Deep Nutrition by Dr. Catherine Shanahan.
Okay.
And her 4 pillars of deep nutrition are based on the science of epigenetics. And so the subtitle of the book is something like Why Your Genes Need Traditional Foods. And so the 4 pillars that are kind of my guidelines. I always return to my body. primarily, but living foods being sprouted and fermented foods, fresh, seasonal, local if possible produce, meat on the bone and bone broth, and then high nutrient density foods like organ meats, egg yolks, and shellfish. And those are kind of the cornerstones of what I consider to be optimal for me. That's what I found works for me.
That's powerful. And I wonder, going back to something you said earlier, if there are listeners watching and listening to this show who wake up unclear every morning, most mornings, because of their choice of diet, and what they are consuming is impacting their level of clarity, whether it's physical clarity, emotional clarity, sexual clarity. And this can be more than just what we would consider a typical diet. It could include what they're drinking, massive amounts of alcohol. It could be what they're smoking.
Yeah.
It could be what they're snorting, injecting, or all of the above that is impacting their level of holistic clarity. And what I heard you say is that you value getting up and feeling clear, and part of that clarity comes from your diet and what you consume.
Yeah. I've been in the field of massage and body work, as you know, for almost 15 years now. So it's been my job to help people get out of pain, to sleep better, to manage their inflammation. And people ask me, why do I hurt so bad? Why does this hurt? Like, what did I do? And I have to tell them, it might be something you did. It might be what you've been eating. It might be how you're sleeping. It might be your beliefs and your attitudes about yourself and your body and your health and your life. There's just so much, so much plays into it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. And what I have experienced is when I am not consuming things that are in alignment with my body, I experience some shame and guilt around that, because I really deeply know that I shouldn't be consuming it. And one of the things I appreciate and really value about Men's Sacred Liberation is that it's a call to action to bring men together so that they know that they're not alone in this journey. Because let's be honest, if you've been consuming something and it feeds a certain need, oftentimes to numb really intense emotions we're experiencing, and alcohol does a really good job of that, and so does marijuana.
Yeah.
And so does pornography. Let's be fair and peel it back even more. We consume things with our eyes.
Yes.
And men in particular have a history of watching a lot of pornography.
Yep.
So if we come together as a group of men to hold each other accountable, then there's an opportunity to have accountability at a really deep level so that we're able to have some checks and balances. And admittedly, I've noticed, and one of the things we ask men who come to our retreats is to look at their relationship with certain things they consume, for example, alcohol and other mind-altering substances. And so if you're doing it with a group of men, you're not alone.
Yep.
And you in particular, and another brother we have from the Brotherhood, Declan, have really helped me hold myself accountable for things such as alcohol for me, and caffeine, which I've taken time away from. It's been almost 2 weeks now, and I feel so much more clear. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I'm able to stick with it because I know that I can check in with you or Declan and have that accountability.
Right.
So
right.
In addition to what you eat and enjoying the foods you consume, you love cooking.
Yes.
So where did this passion come from?
I don't know. It's in me.
It's
been in me for as long as I can remember.
It's in your DNA. It's in the blood.
So I started. So My mom started cooking me with me when I was, I think, probably in preschool or kindergarten. Some of my earliest memories are of this children's cookbook that we would go through. After that, you know, through growing up in my teenage years, I loved watching cooking shows on TV. I love the the old school Iron Chef.
Oh yeah.
Just amazing. And so I guess around the time of I was about 19 years old, I went vegetarian. And so I was kind of that was new territory for me at the time. I'm obviously I told you my principles now. I'm not there now, but that kind of kicked off a whole new journey as far as learning to cook again, because I was kind of starting over. And I got really into Indian food and Asian food.
Spice.
Yeah, using all the spices, all the seasonings, toasting and grinding my own spice mixtures and curry powders and all that from scratch. And it just created so much delight for myself and my roommates. And it's just something I've continued to do and refine. In 2021, I got certified as a NutriCoach, which is like a personal chef and combined with nutrition certification. And going through the course, it was, I realized that I already knew almost everything that was in the course as far as culinary techniques. But one thing I did learn a lot about was fermenting my own food. And that just makes fermented foods are just incredible for your gut health, which directly affects your brain health, your mental health. The microbiome regulates inflammation in your body. It creates vitamins. It helps you synthesize hormones and neurotransmitters. So keeping your gut healthy with your microbiome, with naturally fermented foods, was a big game changer for me. And you know, I love going to like the used bookstore and picking up cookbooks and just trying out new things all the time. I'm very adventurous. I love the thrill of discovery. You know, whether it's a new dish, new type of food, new music. That's a big one for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Hold that thought. One of the specific pieces of our next Men's Sacred Liberation, which you've been to all the retreats so far, is your participation as one of the facilitators, one of the lead facilitators. And I'm really excited that we are working on a project with you to have you share some of these skills and gifts of kitchen expertise and mastery of wizardry, if you will. So for those of you listening and are planning on coming to the next retreat in October, which we'll have more details about that at the end of the show, you'll be there sharing your gifts about food and the knowledge you've gained over the years, and cannot wait to try some of your magic. So that's something to look forward to, I know for sure.
Yes.
And on top of that, you love music, and I found out about the depth of your love for music a while back, and I'm excited for you to share more about your love for music and how that has manifested in your current role as a DJ. So say more.
Yeah. So, I mean, my love of music goes back as far as I can remember. I had my favorite record when I was 5 years old was the Talking Heads. My favorite song was "And She Was," and
oh wow,
I left that record out
classic
in the window in the sun, and it warped, and I cried and cried. That's what. But anyway, yeah, growing up, as a teenager, I learned to play guitar, and I played in a punk band throughout high school and afterwards, and a few other bands. And then after high school, I started buying records, and that has been an incredible journey. There was one of my spiritual homes is a record store in New Orleans where I lived, where I just discovered the most incredible music from around the world. I fell in love with the music from Jamaica, from Colombia, from all over Africa. And, you know, I just bought what I loved, and then I moved back to Charlotte 2014. 2015, I had an old friend of mine from high school who also shared this love of music. He turned me on to a lot of stuff that was just blew my mind, like Charles Mingus. I remember he introduced me to, and you know, we reconnected. He had a residency playing an all vinyl reggae night at Thomas Street Tavern twice a month. He knew I loved reggae. He said, "Bring out some records." I brought him out. He pointed it to the turntables. He said, "It works exactly how you think it does. Go." And so that's how it started.
Wow.
In 2018, I took over the residency solo. I passed off from my friend Luke Stimmerman, who owns Premium Sound record store here in Charlotte, which is the best. Shout out to Luke.
Yes, it's still there.
It's on Central Avenue at the Gold Tone Studio.
Okay.
Right by, I think, Morningside and Central. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so I did the residency twice a month solo from 2018 to 2020. I do block parties. I do street festivals. I like to mix old and new and all types of genres. My specialty, I feel like, is to bring the unfamiliar forth. You know, there's a lot of DJs, and I appreciate them so much at weddings and things that play the hits that everybody knows, and that's
right.
That's great. What I do is I make people fall in love with music that they've never heard before. I travel all around. I spend hours in record stores bringing forth these jewels from the mines.
Yes, you do.
That would otherwise, you know, maybe never be seen or.
Right.
And I like to take people outside of what's familiar to them, and I like to take them on a journey, and I like to take them through the whole range of emotions. I like to bring forth a little bit of trickster energy, bringing the unexpected into my sets. But other than that, I just like to keep it really, really heartfelt, really joyful. Yeah, my good friend Claudio, he likes to say my vibes are high and my crates are deep.
Ooh.
And if you're not familiar with old school DJ culture, the crates refers to the record crates.
Right.
So.
And I'm stuck on something you just said. You take people on a journey through a full range of emotions.
Yes.
And when I heard that, I felt that in my body, and it captures exactly what you're going to do for the city of Charlotte at the largest ice plunge event that this city has ever seen.
Yes.
On August 27th at the Village of Commonwealth Apartments, you are going to be bringing these gifts through this journey that you're going to take us on, not just once, but twice, because you're also curating the playlist that's going to guide people through their psychedelic breathwork journey that I'm going to facilitate.
Yes.
So this event, for those of you listening, if you've been feeling the call for an ice bath or a cold plunge experience, on August 27th, we will be hosting an event open to the world. So come on in and check out the amazing apartments of a Village of Commonwealth in Plaza Midwood, right off of Central Avenue. And you will be guiding us through this journey as I facilitate it with your special song list.
Yep.
And then that's going to continue on into the ice plunge experience, which you will be guiding us through with your special songs, many of which we'll never have heard of before. So I cannot wait for this event. It's a double dose of Asher with the breathwork journey and the music you share for me as I guide, and then also at the ice plunge. So tell us a little bit more about your excitement related to that, and anything we can look forward to, and what is it that you're looking forward to in that event?
Yeah, I'm so excited. It brings together, all the things that I talked about that light up my soul. The embodiment in breath work that I've fallen in love with since I've met you, and the ice baths, of course.
Yes, which is how we met.
Right. Yeah.
We met at one of my ice bath events.
That's right.
So it's
feels like it
love
was,
at first ice.
Yeah. That was only last October. It feels like years ago.
Wow, that's a lot can happen in a year.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a great community. It's really like the connections that I've made and I see other people making. I love when the acro yoga people come out. I love trying that out.
Yes.
It's just a great way to connect. It's going to be a great scene. I'm going to be playing tropical rhythms.
Oh boy.
And keep it fun.
Yes.
Yeah. Keep it light.
It's going to be light and quite chilly, so the music is going to guide us through, as you said, this range of emotions. In addition to the breath work and the ice plunge, Matt Robson will be there with his Vietnamese coffee company, Robusta Coffee. So come out and get a cup of joe. Matt is a talented barista and imports these beans that he's built relationships with the families and the farmers in Vietnam, and is bringing these beans to us in Charlotte. So we'll have coffee brewed, iced coffee and hot coffee. Starts at 10 a.m. with a yoga class leading right into the breath work at 11, and you can get coffee all day. And then the Acro Nuts, Charlotte's Acro Yoga group, will be there. So come on out. If you've not tried acro yoga before, we'll have that. And of course, the music will be playing in the background, so you'll get to enjoy all of that. And we'll have that information in the information page section in the show today.
Yes.
So I know, in addition to your love for food and for music, you also have a passion and a love for movement.
Yes.
And the way in which we move, because there's a lot of different ways we can move in our bodies.
Yes.
So what specifically do you focus on, and what do you teach as it relates to movement?
Yeah. So I have definitely experienced my fair share of pain and injury in my life. I worked as a bicycle courier for many years, and I learned the importance of taking care of my body and moving well, and through that. But I see, as a massage therapist, as a body worker, I see that we are how we move. And I see a lot of people in pain because they're either not moving enough or they're moving in the wrong ways, or they're overdoing it.
Mm-hmm.
And those three things, you know, are kind of ubiquitous in our culture, the way our environments are designed. You go from being sedentary to weekend warriors, you know, and my latest leg of the journey has taken me into, it's taken me back to these sort of primal movements that
Mm-hmm.
that we do as children. And if you watch children move, they just move beautifully. And the greatest athletes of all time keep these movement patterns throughout their career and, you know, manage to perform for decades or more without
Mm-hmm.
injuries.
Mm-hmm.
And you also see these same movement patterns in indigenous people around the world who have not created a dysfunctional environment for themselves.
Right.
You know, they're still, and so it's based on the design of nature. It's spirals. It's, I kind of broke from the rules that I see in the exercise world. And, you know, I realized, like, you don't need to brace your spine and brace your core all the time. You need to move your spine. You need to let it bend and flex and twist. And that's kind of like the nature's design. When you watch a lizard crawl or a jaguar walking, running, you see the bending, the twisting, the springing.
Yes.
And I think that is the key to bodily integrity, you know.
Right.
And so, yeah, I'm learning and teaching these movement patterns so that in ways that you can kind of remember them and then drill them into your nervous system so that your joints will outlast, you know, every single organ and system in your body if you take care of them and you use them the way nature designed them. So
when men watch the videos and see the images from the retreats, there are several of them that capture you leading us at one of the retreats through some of these activities where you actually see us crawling on the ground.
mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
for those listening and interested in what we do at the retreats, and you might see the language of embodiment or primal movement, it's finding ways to bring in experts like yourself who can help guide us through these very organic, innate ways of moving that we've forgotten about because we've fallen in love with bucket seats
Right.
in the cars and think that that's what it's supposed to feel like. It's comfortable.
Yeah.
When in reality, that's the opposite of what we were born to do, which is what kids want to do, is just move around and squirm around and roll around and spiral around. And then we enter kindergarten and we're told we have to sit on a hard, cold chair for 8 hours a day for the next 18 years of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
And Men's Sacred Liberation is about calling us back home to our bodies and moving in ways that we were meant to move.
Yes.
And that's the beauty of these retreat experiences that hopefully will then lead us into a more natural, organic, innate way of being embodied.
Yep.
And look forward to having you there at the retreat to guiding us through these activities, which you will be at the next retreat.
So honored.
Yes. So to close, we've talked about food, we've talked about music, we've talked about movement. Did we miss anything else that lights up your soul? I heard the trifecta: movement, music, and food.
Yeah. Yeah.
What else?
I just love, connecting with
Mm-hmm.
people, with nature, with my more than human community. Yeah, that's what it's all about.
I know you and I have had a lot of conversations around animals, and you consume animals. It's part of your diet, and I do as well. And part of, again, men's liberation is learning how to respect and honor the planet,
Yes.
especially the animals and the plants we consume, and coming back to what I assume our ancestors did, which is not only eat animals, but have a deep, deep respect and reverence for them.
Absolutely.
And to know that and explore the ways in which we can more honorably love animals, respect animals, and kill animals, and then love, honor, and respect them as we consume them. And that is something that I know I was not taught growing up at home or at school. And I believe that it is our responsibility as men, in particular, through Men's Sacred Liberation, to bring an awareness to the animal kingdom and how we can better serve them, because right now it's horrific what we do to them, and it's become a very industrialized way of managing them and treating them that is inconsistent with the laws of nature and how we're supposed to love them. So
Yeah.
I've appreciated those conversations, and we'll be having more of them through your presentations at the retreat. So
Yeah.
this has been an action-packed episode, and I've loved having you here. We'll put all of your information in the body of the episode so that people can contact you for private sessions.
Yep.
And anything you've shared today that resonated with any of our listeners, you're accessible, because the basis of this show is bringing men's lives to the world, especially in Charlotte, so that Charlotte listeners can reach out to us because we're accessible and we're here and we're building these connections in this community, not virtually, in person. And for all men who are listening in Charlotte or even beyond who want to fly in for the retreat in October, the date will be announced next week, and we look forward to having you there. So Asher, thank you for being the guest.
Thank you so much, Brian.
And we'll see you at the retreat in October. And thank you all the listeners out there for another episode of Men's Sacred Liberation. We will see you again next time.